Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. This is Toxic Rhiannyr, and I am back again with an updated how do I make neon mesh signs tutorial for Second Life. My previous videos have been taken down from YouTube and actually deleted, so since this is something that I'm kind of known for, helping everybody learn how to make neon signs, I thought I have to put another video up. So I have recorded this several times and I'm just not happy with how I explain things. So hopefully this time we can get all the way through it and I can go ahead and get this posted because I know people are really missing having something up there. So since it's like 2025, I do things a little bit differently. Especially in Blender, I've gotten used to like quick favoriting things. So I don't really go all the way through the menus. However, when we get there, I'll try to remember where they are. And then also when it comes to making the light, I do things a little bit differently now than I did in my previous videos. So I will say this is going to be a long video. There's really nothing I can do to make this process any shorter. I do go through a bunch of programs, and also I just want to make a disclaimer that there are a million different ways that you can do this. I just so happen to work in Photoshop and Illustrator, and I'm very comfortable in those programs, but they're definitely not needed in order to make signs. If you're really good at tracing in Blender or you're really good with the text tool in Blender, then you can totally skip the first two programs that I use. Also, I do a lot of ambient occlusion baking inside of Blender. You can also skip that and just export straight to Substance Painter and do your thing. So hopefully this tutorial will help newcomers to this kind of item, and then it will also help maybe some seasoned modelers with, I don't know, learn something new, if it's even helpful at all. So if you're interested in all that, just hang out with me, grab a water, and then pause me when I get annoying. I'll do my best not to ramble, okay? So I will explain my process a little bit. Since I create logo design, I do a lot of custom branding in Second Life. I always start out with Photoshop and I use Illustrator as well. So today I'm going to be making a neon sign for my store Glow Baby, and we're just going to use that as an example. And I'm going to start in Photoshop, make the logo in Photoshop, and I'm going to export into Illustrator. I'm going to cut paths in Illustrator, vectorize if you will. Then I'm going to export an SVG file from Illustrator, and we're going to import that into Blender. We're going to do all of our modeling, UV unwrapping, baking the ambient occlusions in Blender, and then I'm going to export the models into Substance Painter, do a base texture, go back to Photoshop, fiddle around, teach you how I make the neon lights, and then we'll bring everything into Second Life, put it all together, test it out, and hopefully we won't have any hiccups. So that is the process. Like I said, probably going to be an hour-long video. I'll do my best to cut it down where it gets boring or repetitive, or I'm rendering, and I'll try to cut it as much as I can. But I appreciate everyone asking what happened to the older videos. Am I going to be putting up a new one? And so here we are. All right, 4 minutes of rambling. So let's go ahead and get started. Here we are in Photoshop. We are going to make a pretty simple logo for my store Glow Baby. So I'm going to start off here. Also too, I will say that I'm not gonna like go through all the minute details of using any of these programs. I really hope whoever is watching at least has a very base knowledge of all of the programs that I just listed, because I'm not exactly a great teacher to be showing you how to do everything all the way down to like every small detail. So hopefully you have at least base knowledge of all of these programs. So for Glow Baby, this is what I'm going to do. Pretty Savage is like this as well, and then my alter ego logo is like this as well. So basically kind of signature for me in my stores. A lot of my stores have two words in them, but they're like mashed into one word. So for Glow Baby this time, I'm going to leave the glow solid, but on baby, I want that to be an outline. So let's just go through here, and I'm going to lower the fill opacity, and then I'm going to add a stroke, and we're going to like bring this in. My favorite position is going to be center. That sounds wrong out of context, doesn't it? But that to me looks pretty perfect, so I'm just going to leave it there. My canvas here is 3000 by 3000, and I can't admit I like to make things big. Jeez, this is really sounding awful. But for the sake of anything happening down the line that might cause like anti-aliasing or any artifacting in Blender, I try to just keep everything large canvas. So hopefully it calculates and reads properly. So from here, I'm just going to save a ping file. Like I said, I've done this a bunch of times, and then I just find myself, I get annoyed with myself. I get annoyed with how I'm teaching it or my voice or whatever, and I end up just tossing it in the trash. So hopefully we can get through this today. So we're just going to save this as ping and just do whatever default. Next, we're going to go into Illustrator. We're just going to open up that file. Here we go, Glow Baby. All right, so let's see here. We have Glow Baby opened inside of Illustrator, and I'm just gonna like use the magnifying glass to kind of bring that all into frame. Make sure that you have your object selected. We're gonna look for the Properties tab. If you don't see the Properties tab in Illustrator, then you're gonna need to come over to Window, scroll down the Properties, and make sure there's a check there. At the bottom of properties, you're going to see the quick actions. I'm going to go ahead and choose image trace, and then I'm going to click on default, let it kind of do its thing, and then I'm just going to click on expand. So now you can see that there's paths that have been cut around the text. We don't need to do anything else from here. We're just going to file, save as, and we're going to export this as SVG. All of the normal options, just press OK. So from here, we're going to go into Blender, go ahead and take the light and the camera out, and then I'm just going to import the SVG file that I just made. Right here, we're going to import it, and then we can check it out. Thank goodness, everything worked properly. So I'm going to go ahead and just size this baby up to be pretty large on your 3D space here. So from here, we just want to take out all of the pieces that we don't actually need. So the insides of the letters, bye-bye. Okay, just like so. So when we select everything, everything looks great. Okay, from here, oh my gosh, not me fucking burping in the mic, so I'm so sorry. Hopefully my noise cancellation took that out. Ugh, here we go. So we're just gonna shift select all of the pieces that we want, and actually I'm wanting the border, because this is the part that's gonna be extruded. So I'm just holding down shift and I'm clicking the pieces that I do want, just like that. And okay, so in order to conjoin them, make sure you have the dark orange and the light orange, and you should be able to Control J and conjoin them together to be one piece. From here, I'm going to right click and do convert to mesh. I'm also going to right click and set origin to geometry, and that just kind of throws that in the middle. I'm going to do the same thing for the inside of baby. Control J, right click, convert to mesh, right click, set to origin. Kind of doesn't matter on that last part. All right, so here we're going to select over everything, and I'm going to rotate on X 90 degrees, bring that up. I don't know if some people are like crazy about putting everything inside the middle. I really don't care. So, okay. So from here, we're going to take this material off. I'm going to press N to get rid of that menu there, but go down to your material properties, and we're just going to take this black material off. Okay, so here's the part where I have everything on quick favorites at this point, but I'm going to try to remember where we have it. Okay, so we're going to go into edit mode, and you see how really ugly, messy everything is. So we're going to press A to select everything, and we're going to come up here to mesh, and we're going to go to cleanup, and we're going to do limited dissolve. So you just click that, cleans everything up, everything's fine. Do the same thing for baby. We're going to click mesh, cleanup, limited dissolve. Everything's Gucci. Okay, so from here, we're going to go back to the solid part, go back into edit mode, press E to extrude, and just bring that out to whatever thickness that you're wanting it to be. And then I'm going to come in here to the inside. I'm going to pull this to wherever I think that needs to be. So everything looks good so far. I can say that I hate how these edges look here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come up to Object, and then I'm going to come down to Shade Auto Smooth, and we're going to say goodbye to that ugly shit. And for me, this sign is going to go on the wall in Second Life, so it's going to have a shadow plane behind it, so I don't need these back faces. So we're going to go back into edit mode, click one of the back faces, and then go to select similar, and then click normal. That's going to select all of your back faces. From here you can press delete and then click on faces, and that takes everything away. So I'm going to go back in object mode here, and I'm just going to conjoin the inside and the solid part of the text just to make it all one piece. If yours looks weird, it's because it probably like reset that shade smooth. So you could just go back in and hit it again. Mine looks to be fine though. All right, so let's see. From here, let's go ahead and create a shadow plane for the text. So we're in object mode. I'm going to press Shift A. We're going to hit a plane. We're going to make it big. We're going to rotate it on X 90 degrees, and we're going to throw it back behind. So for me, personal preference, whenever I'm making a plane, I want it to kind of go inside of the lettering just a little bit because I feel like it makes it sharper. I really like to have sharp shadows on my neon signs. I don't know, like I said, personal preference. If you don't like that, then you know, you can set it to however you want. But we're going to resize this down a little bit. S and then hitting Z. Kind of scale this down. All right, for the sake of sometimes my electric likes to just turn off whenever it wants to, I'm going to go ahead and make a save on this file. Here we go. I'm just going to name it tutorial again, because literally again. Okay, on to the next thing. Let's go ahead and make our materials. So you're going to come down here to material properties. I've gone back in edit mode. I pressed A, I think, to select that shadow. So we're going to come in here. We're just going to create a new material and call it shadow. For me, I have to hit this stupid thing a million times to have it assign. If I just do it once, it's not going to let me do it. So if you are able to just hit it once, kudos to you. I have to hit it a million times. So when we go back to the text, I'm going to hit back into edit mode, and I'm going to press A to select everything. Create a new layer. I'm going to call this one text space. And we're going to mash on that. And then also I'm going to make a face for just the front face of the text. So we can go in here to select similar, and do normal. But I'm going to come in here and I'm actually going to deselect by pressing shift and clicking on these faces, because I'm going to make that on its own face number. Okay, so all we need is like the front or border per se. So I'm just going to call this text front. Maybe. Mash. Now we can come in here on this one by pressing L and then just hover, clicking over to select the inside of baby. And here I'm just going to call this text inside. It's pretty much how I organize my faces almost on every single sign. Don't ask me why, it's just kind of my routine at this point and what I'm most comfortable with. We're going to go up here and go to the UV editing. This is going to split our viewport in two. So on the left hand side we have the UV, and on the right hand side we have the regular 3D viewport. So from here I'm just going to go back into object mode. We're going to click the shadow, go back into edit mode, and on your number keypad on your keyboard you're going to press 1 and 5. That's going to bring us to front orthographic mode. I'm going to press U and then project from view. So as you can see on the left hand side, it's taking a picture of the shadow. So we're just going to resize that and fit it inside of the UV space. So what I do that's like really convenient for me is I come up here to UV and I put a check in constrain to image bounds, and that just makes it to where we can select over the vertices and just kind of pull that to the image bound. You won't go outside of it, and I can just slam that down to the bottom and it's ready to go. So coming back over to the 3D viewport, I'm going to go back into object mode. I'm going to click on the text, and then I'm going to go back into the edit mode, go back to the material properties, and here we're going to pray that this assigned this shit correctly, because this would be why I have to start over sometimes. So click on text base. I'm going to select it. So it looks to be correct to me that it's only selecting the sides of the text. Now, let me be completely honest with you. On most of my signs, I don't animate the sides of the text. I have seen some neon signs out there in Second Life that is like that and is really cool. You would have to UV that a completely different way. But Toxxic is lazy. So I'm just going to let Blender Smart UV unwrap the sides, because I'm just going to put a material on it, a black one probably from Substance Painter, and just call it a day. So with having this selected, I'm going to click on U. We're going to go to Smart UV Project, and on the island margin, I'm just going to add 0.8. So that is the margin that I want it to do, and I'm just going to press OK. So you can see it did its best to calculate the UVs, and they're very random. They wouldn't be something that you would be able to animate in order, but like I said before, I'm going to be lazy with the material, and it's perfectly fine. So I'm going to box select over everything and press S, Y, and then just kind of bring that in and throw it up at the top. I still have the constraint on, so it's not going to allow me to go outside of the UV space, which is awesome. So now we can go back to the right, and I'm going to do the next thing for text front. We're going to select it. Everything looks good, but on this one, we're going to do project from view. So you see that it just took a picture of the front, which is perfect. I'm going to throw that down and just kind of size it up to kind of fit inside the UV space. And then I'm going to do the same thing for baby. We're going to go to U, project from view, and then same thing, just going to kind of size this up. So now that we have all of the UVs done, I'm going to come back to the 3D space, and I'm going to click on A to select everything, and then we can kind of come in here and size this a lot better now that we can like see all of the pieces. So let me just explain like my thought process in this. Of course, your thought process might be something completely different, and it's okay. You can organize the UVs however you want. So for me, the most important thing on the signs is going to be kind of the inside material that I created, because often on my signs I like to put like a gloss over the text for like the inside, not the border. Usually my border is a solid color, or these front faces right here. This is just going to be a solid color, probably black. But in here, this might be black or pink, and I might put a bubble or something over it. So I always want those faces to be bigger, because it's going to allow me to do a higher quality texture on that face, if that makes sense. And also too, like I said, to me, the sides are less important. So if I really wanted to put more emphasis, more focus on the baby part of the text, then I would go in and make the sides even smaller. But for me, honestly, for the way I'm going to texture this, this is perfectly fine. Okay. So from here, Now that we have all of the UV mapping done, you can export this sign and go straight into Substance Painter, but I like to bake the ambient occlusion out of Blender. I just think it looks better than whatever I'm able to get out of Substance Painter, even though I will go back in and bake an ambient occlusion in Substance to use as I'm applying the material. I do use the ambient occlusions from Blender in my texturing process. So I'll just show you how I do that. Again, you can completely skip this part because I'm an old bitch, okay? This is the boomer in me that wants to bake the shadows inside of Blender. So how I would do that is I go up to the shading tab here at the top. I have the shadow selected. So I'm going to click on Add, Texture, Image Texture, and that's going to throw a little node in there. I'm going to click on New. We're going to name this Shadow. The width and the height's going to be 2048 by 2048, and I'm going to leave the alpha ticked on that one. So now we're going to do the same thing for the actual text of the sign. Create a new node. I'm going to come in here and I'm going to name it Text. Leave it at 2048, but I'm going to take the alpha off. Now, if you're going to be doing it this way, I want all of the materials that I created for the text to be baked on one map. So in order to do that, we have to copy this node here and make sure that you come over here to the material properties and paste that node into each one of the materials. So you can click on it and see that it has this. That's going to tell Blender to go ahead and bake all of those materials to one map. So this has one map, and then we have a separate map for the shadows itself. So I'm going to come up here to the render properties. I'm going to show you my sampling. I don't know if I've ever touched that shit. I did take a mesh class a couple of years ago, so maybe we altered that. I'm not exactly sure, but those are the settings that I'm going to use. So then you're going to come down here to the bake tab. And on this one, I don't have any emissive or any lights or anything going on in the scene. So all I really need is the ambient occlusion. So we're going to change the bake type. And then I'm going to come down here to the margin size and I'm going to click 6. So this is the part where I'm going to go ahead and stop the video for just a second. Go ahead and let these occlusions, ambient occlusions run. And then I'll come back to show you what it looks like. And then we'll carry. Okay, perfect. We are back from baking. Everything is done. So as you can see here in this window that it has made me a nice little ambient occlusion. So I'm going to come in here and we're going to save that to our folder. Make a new folder and we're just going to save these out real quick. All right, perfect. So going back into the layout, I'm going to go ahead and save because I just know. From here, we're going to go ahead and make a light for the sign before we, well, actually, let me just do this. I usually do this on almost every sign is I just kind of save and export the text. And that's the version that I go ahead and put inside of Substance Painter. So I'm just going to make a folder for day files. Make sure if you're exporting that you have selection only done. And I'm going to actually put on here that this is for Substance Painter. So that's the version that I'm going to upload to apply some nice materials to. All right, so here's the fun part. The fun part, the not so fun part. Okay, so let me make sure I have some things ready here. All right, so to do the neon part of the text, I'm going to only be working with the front faces of the logo. Okay, so this is partly the reason why I did the material part and spliced it up the way I do, because that makes this part pretty simple. So for the sake of not screwing things up, let's go ahead and Shift D and make a copy of our sign. I'm going to click the text part of the sign. We're going to go into edit mode. And from here, let's go ahead and just click on text front, hit select. We want to separate this. So while we have everything selected, we're going to press P as in Peter on our keyboard and we're going to click on selection. So as you can see, it makes it like a dark orange color. I'm going to go back into object mode and just click on that front face. I'm going to click on what is it? Shift D to duplicate. Not clicking anything else. I'm just going to hit enter because you actually want to be able to move that in the exact place that you copied it. Otherwise, you're going to be lining this thing up and having to eyeball it, and it's just really freaking annoying. So I'm going to go back to the original text and click on the front face and the sides, and then I'm just going to conjoin them back together by pressing Control J. So that's all one piece again, and we have our separate piece for the light layer here. So as you can see inside the materials palette section menu thing here, we have all of the faces that we set on that original text, and we actually don't need it. So go through here and actually take them out. We can go back inside of edit mode, select everything, and create a new material face, and this time we're going to call this text lights. And I'm going to mash that assign a couple times. So let's switch over to the UV editing menu. I'm going to press period on my number pad to like zoom in. And actually everything is perfectly fine right now because we've already taken a picture of this. So here is where the fun part happens. How to make the light layer. Okay, so if you guys watched my other videos, you know I have this cool little cheat sheet thing done, and honestly, I still use this to this very day. This is the part of the video that I really kind of want to show you a few variations on how you can make this sign animated. It's fun. Okay, so this is where I've seen them just get really creative on my base how to do this. So this is where like you can get wild and crazy with it. Okay, so for instance, imagine hi is glow baby written out like normal. Okay, just regular typed out. All right, if we were to rotate glow baby 90 degrees clockwise going to the right, that means that your light is going to run from the left-hand side of the sign to the right, which most of my signs in Second Life start from the left and go to the right. If we were going to rotate Glow Baby 90 degrees counterclockwise, flipping it backwards, that means that your light is going to run from the right-hand side and it's going to go backwards on your sign. If we were to flip it upside down, that means your light is going to run from the bottom of the sign and it's going to go up. So say for instance you want fire or smoke or something like that, you could do a cool animation like that and have it go from the bottom to the top. But if you were to leave it just like Glow Baby, just like is, that means your light is going to run from the top of your sign down to the bottom. Okay, so something else that I want to explain, make sure you take a screenshot of this. I will make sure that it's inside whatever download I give you with like lights and scripts and all that kind of crap in it. Say for instance, we just flattened this sign just like as is because we want the animation to go from the top, run down to the bottom on each letter with no customization. So say you just grab this and then you align X and throw that on the side and you're like, okay, I'm done. All right, so cool. Yeah, that's just going to run the light from the top to the bottom, but you have no control over G, L, O, W, etc., right? So that, I don't do that very often. I tell you when I do that. When I do if I have a heart, say for instance the neon sign has a heart behind it, I would flatten that without rotating it. Any like solid objects, so if I'm doing sparkles, if I'm doing stars or dots, those usually just get flattened just like that. There's no need to rotate or anything because I'm wanting those to come in randomly and do like a sparkling type effect. When you do a heart and you just flatten it, it looks really cool. It like bows out and like follows the outside of the heart and it looks really neat. So that would be the only reason that I would smash it just like it is. But with it being a text or a name or a logo, you want the ability to be able to modify each letter individually, because often when you're doing these signs custom, people want the letters to blink and be like static, like as if the light bulb is going out, okay? So if you just come in here and you smash this, you lose the ability to work on each letter, and you really, really want that. So if you were going to be doing, you want the light to come from top to bottom, but you want to be able to edit each individual letter, you're going to need to organize your UV like this by just stacking them on top of each other. You'll see in a minute when I smash this down to 1 pixel, you'll see each island on the side, and that will make it to where you can customize each letter, make them blink, make them different colors. We can rotate them to do different effects, but you always want to set your sign in a way like this where you can see the individual islands. If you're wondering how I went in and just selected that, you need to come up here to this UV select mode. I think by default it's in vertice mode, and you really want to be able to select the entire island. So like I was mentioning before, let's go ahead and grab everything. Right click and align X is what you want. As you can see the individual letters, and that's what you want. That's how every single sign is done. Whether you're rotating 90 degrees first, or like I said, this one would just be a sign that's animating at the top and it's moving downward. Okay, so ideally, if we were going to go ahead and do this, we would size it up, make it fit inside of the UV space, which that's where this constrained to image bounds comes in handy again, because you can just make this size all the way perfect, and you need to throw it all the way to the right. So let me show you another example of how this could be. I'm going to come back over and we're just going to UV this again. So I'm going to press U, and then we're going to do project from view. Okay, so say for instance, I want the light to go from the left to the right, but I want to be able to do like some kind of like a different type of light rotation on this. So we're going to select everything and press RX90. That's flipping it counterclockwise 90 degrees. Come up here and take that constraint off. And you're probably going to want to come in here and kind of pull them apart, because whenever you flatten them down, you do not want your letters to overlap at all. That causes problems. Just won't be as pretty, you know. So kind of put them like as evenly spaced as you can, but make sure whenever you squish them down to the align X that nothing is overlapping. You can select everything and then just go in there and align X. Now, that, what I just showed you, is purely going to be a light starting from the left and moving to the right. All right, where am I going with this, Tox? All right, say for instance, I do this animation a lot as well. I want the light to start at the top of the G, go down, start at the bottom of the L, go up, start on top, go down, start, you know what I'm saying? So this is how you would do that. So again, you need to make your letters individual. Like you wouldn't just squish these right away. You need to do this really boring thing again. I wish there was a better way to do this, but honestly, I don't think there is. I think it's better for you to just manually move the UVs. This is where like a lot of patience is required for sure. Until somebody can make us like a cool like plugin or something that would do this. But however, I don't even think a plugin would really work very well because the customization that would go into it from here. Okay, so say I wanted that up, down, up, down, up, down. So what I would do is I would leave the G just as is, because that would be the light starting at the top going to the bottom. But we would flip the L, we would rotate it on X 180 degrees, flipping it upside down. The next one, we leave the O the way it is, but flip the W. Leave the B the way it is, but flip the A. Just like that, and flip the Y, just like that. And so this would be the up, down, up, down, up, down type of animation. You would select everything and then align X. Like I said before, you can see all of the islands. So you're going to make it smaller, fit into the UV space, and then we're just going to throw that there on the right. Just like so. Okay? So that would be the up, down, up, down. You can also do that. You can also do that going side to side. So I'll show you that one, and then I'll show you some of the examples from my portfolio so we can kind of get a good look of what we're doing here. One more time, I'm going to show you one more way to do this kind of cool, and then I'll shut up and we'll move on to going in Second Life and Substance Painter. So on this one, I'm just going to rotate this 90 degrees. That's going to make it to where the light goes from left to right. But say for instance, like I said before, you want it to be coming from the left going to the right, but on the L, you want it to go from the right to go to the left. So you would select the L, rotate 180 degrees, flip it upside down. Same thing with the W. That's going to do like it's almost like how can I explain it? Like a blinds effect, you know, like it just kind of looks like a little wave going through it. It's kind of nice. But yeah, you would do that just every other letter. Now, if you wanted to be totally random with stuff, I did just do like a pack of mesh words for creators, and I made the fat pack look kind of crazy where I did this same effect, but I did random letters. Like in fat pack, I might have like rotated the A, the P, the K, you know, not necessarily every other one, but just picked random letters inside of it and then rotated it, and that made a really cool effect as well. So let's go ahead and just move this out. This will be the one that I actually export so we can look at the sign inside Second Life. And again, I will show you what I'm talking about on some of these other things, and maybe it'll make more sense because right now it's a bunch of gibberish, I'm sure. Okay, so we're just going to size this to the window. I'm going to hit the constraint thing here, move this all the way to the right. So the way I do the signs, the UV has to move all the way to the right. I have seen some people do it differently. So again, that's where that disclaimer comes in, where I'm like, you know, everybody kind of does this stuff a little bit differently. There's no wrong way, by the way, no wrong way. All right, so let's go back to the layout. Now we're done with that UV crap. All right, so what I'm going to do from here is I'm just going to take our light layer and we're going to bring this in. I don't put it all the way flush against the sign because I'm going to need to texture that like front part of the bulk part of the text. So also too, it will create some kind of like alpha glitching BS that goes on if you make it too close. So I would say this is good. I'm going to shift and select the full text and shift and select the shadow, and we're going to press Control J to conjoin it. So now this is all one mesh piece here, okay? If your text looks crazy, you can go in and hit it with that auto shade smooth again, and that will fix everything. And from here, I'm going to go to File, Export, Day File, and this one we're going to call it Second Life. This is be the one that we upload into SL. Okay, we're almost done. Promise. All right, so for here, we're going to go New. We're going to go up to Select, and then we're going to go back to our tutorial, and I'm going to look on the day files, and I'm going to click on the one for Substance Painter, and we're just going to press OK. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and bake the maps, which shouldn't take but a few seconds, but these are my settings. Don't ask me why. I just do the same thing every time. Like, I don't know, somebody told me how to do this, and it's like not that big of a deal. So dilations all the way max, apply diffusion, frontal and rear, I don't know, I just make them max, and then anti-aliasing is 16, and then I just bake the textures. So this should just take a second. I'm going to sip of water here. Hopefully you're still with me. Like I said, it's a process. I'm really trying to not ramble and annoy anybody. I'm trying to just give like straight up instructions and just leave it at that. Okay, so the bake is done. I'm going to return back to paint mode. I'm going to set my environment to this brown Photo Studio 2 4K Don't know where I got it, have no idea, hope you have it. If you don't, just set it to something that you like, you know, whatever your default is. Okay, I'm going to come over to my shader parameters, and on the specular quality, I'm going to go ultra. On the AO intensity, I'm going to raise that up to a 1. Then we're going to come over to our assets. I'm going to click on the smart materials. We're just going to kind of like rotate this to the side here. I'm going to go to this trusty black matte kind of semi-gloss finish that I always use, and I'm just going to drag this up just like that. Honestly, I only give a shit about the sides because the other stuff I'm going to do inside of Photoshop, okay? So I don't know if you use Substance Painter, but you need to actually move the light back and forth because this isn't the best representation as to what you're going to get in SL. So I'm paying more attention to where the light is hitting on the 2D view. In order to rotate the light, you're going to hit shift on your keyboard and then right click and then just move your mouse like left and right. You can also come down here. You see there's the environment rotation is moving. So you can either do it with your mouse or you can do it down here. So what I'm paying attention to right now is like how much light is showing up on the sides. And like it looks like about right here I'm getting the most shine. Again, I don't really know where that shine is going to be landing on the sign, but it really, be honest, I don't really give a shit. Like, because in Second Life, where the heck is the light? Could be coming from any direction. Anyways, I just think this looks a lot better than just going in and just throwing a black on an ambient occlusion. So I'm honestly going to be happy wherever it is on the rotation. I'm not overly picky about that. So honestly, from here, I'm done. I don't want to do anything else because it's just the sides. Trust me, no one is sitting there judging the sides of your sign. They're going to be mesmerized about what's going on the front. So I'm just going to export these textures. We're going to go up here also for the sake of the video. I'm tired of talking and I'm pretty sure you're tired of listening to me. So I'm just going to make a folder and call it substance sub. Your output template's going to be 2D view, file type is going to be JPEG, size is going to be 2048 padding, dilation plus diffusion, and I'm going to export. That's it. We're going to go to day file. I'm going to click on the one I saved for Second Life. So for the lowest, I'm going to hit 2. For the low, I'm going to hit 600. For the medium, I'm going to hit 3000. We're just going to leave it at that. We're going to have it calculate. It's 41 land-in packet, but that baby is because it's huge. I made it big inside of Blender. I always do. So we're going to go ahead and let that load. Cam back a little bit. And we can go ahead and toss this down. Oh, it's not as big as I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be like massive. Go ahead. Well, actually, you know what? Let's keep it big. Let's keep it big. For the sake of tutorial, let's keep it big. All right. So we got Glow Baby in. She's pretty, right? Okay, so here's the fun part. I'm going to go over here to texture. We're going to go to the blend. Also, too, I will make note that I don't know how to do PBR yet, okay? I haven't taken the time to learn this. If you know how to do PBR, well, then you are better than me at this point, and you can make this look amazing. But I'm just going to be working with the blend textures for the sake of the video. Everybody wants to stop hearing me talk. So we have the entire item selected. I'm going to go to select face, and then I'm just going to click on the very front face. And you'll see here it says face number is going to be 4. All right, so that we need to remember that. So right click on the sign and go to content. We're going to come in my inventory here. We're going to find the folder that says neon shit, because that's how serious I am about everything. Again, some of these are custom scripts that I've had made. I've kind of fucked around with ChatGPT and like helped me try to make these a little bit more sophisticated and advanced. But really, to be honest with you, I just go to this trusty one right here, which this one actually doesn't let us play with a face number. This one does. So again, I'm not sure which ones I'll give you, but I'm pretty sure someone's going to screenshot that, so I'm not really worried about it at this point. So for here, we're going to do face number 4 and press save. So something I didn't really explain, I kind of forgot to explain. Let's see if I can go in here real quick while I have this thought process. If you make your UV stretch from top to bottom on the UV space, your light is going to run slower through your sign. If you make this UV smaller, like up and down smaller, like half this size, your light is going to run really fast. So you can control the speed through the UV if you so desire, or you can make it, go from top to bottom, and then on this number in your script, you can control how fast it goes. If you make it smaller, higher, lower, that's going to control the speed of your sign. These other numbers are telling it whether it needs to go left, right, backwards, whatever, right? So for the most part, I leave those other numbers alone. The only one I ever edited is this last one. Okay. Hope that makes sense. So we're just going to drag and drop that script into the contents. We're going to go back to texture. My voice is leaving us again. I don't know what's going on. We're going to click on select face, select on that outside layer again, and let's throw on a test light. So this one is going to be like the shine light that I use on the metallic signs. This one is going to pass through like slanted, going across the sign, and then it's going to blink a couple times. So we're going to throw that in there. We're going to hit full bright, and then we're going to bump up the glow a few times, and then we're just going to watch this go through. Like I said, this one was that little blinds. I don't know, like a little wavy blinds going through the entire sign. So it's going to do that, and it's going to blink, blink. Yeah, there we go. It's going to blink, blink. So, also too, like, as you're practicing with this stuff, different light setups are going to make your sign look different. Okay. So let me just kind of show you. This one is just going to blink spastically. Here we go. Make sure we have that selected. Flash warning. This one is just going to make it blink, blink. It completely disregards that we flipped it 90 degrees for the light to run. That's just because the light is going straight up and down. It's not slanted. If it was slanted, then it would force run sideways through the sign. Let's put another one on here. I can just kind of show you. So you're not really forced to any certain like light style or anything like that. Really, this is what controls it, your textures. So let's go ahead and look how that one does. That one, like I showed you, is slanted. You see there's like a little bit of slant there. That's going to allow it to run through and pass like all the way through the sign. If it was straight up and down, it would blink. Okay, let's try this one. This is the part where like lots of experimenting is going to need to be done on your part to kind of figure out the style that you're wanting it to do. And also the reason why it's totally blown out is because I have the glow set really high. So you can adjust that as well. This one is going to make everything blink kind of like a fade out. And then it's going to blink like really sharply. A fade, and then it'll come back in someday. It's very slow. This would be for a sign that just needs to be pretty slow. And then it blinks a couple times. Okay. So I'll keep going here because I think this is fun. I think it's good for reference sake. It is prolonging the video, but I think in a good way. So this one is going to have no negative space because as you can see, it's just lines. And then in between it's pink. So this one's going to be like lava lamp. It just kind of runs through the color cycle that I have it set to. These are test textures. All right, this is my genius daughter thinking that she was smart, which she actually really was smart. So let me apply. This is just a regular gradient, like a regular ombre of like pastel rainbow colors. So you can just kind of see that it's going through, but there's no blinking going on this one either. I did think she was kind of smart in this because on some signs it is really pretty. This one's interesting. We flipped the ombre the other direction, and so that's what it does. It is moving in some direction, but it's just kind of very, very subtle. Let's see, new lights. These are boring, to be honest with you. These are just regular. They flash a little bit. They have a like a white pass going through it, just a little bit. Kind of boring, to be honest. These are just color ones. I'm just going to show these to you just so you can kind of get a feeling to how like some of your lights can look. This one's like I use this one a lot on like pride signs and stuff because this rainbow is very pretty. But see, that just kind of runs through. All right, and here's the shine ones. We'll show these for the sake of just examples as well. Looks good, right? Okay, so let me just show you what I do in Photoshop with these ambient occlusions, and I think I can let you run away from me. I think you can run away screaming. I'm going to pull in the shadow texture, and then I'm going to pull in this text texture. I'm going to bring in the black texture that I made with Substance Painter. Just going to kind of show you like what I do with this stuff and why I do it this way. I'm a Photoshop kid at heart, so really, if I can just make it in Photoshop, I would much rather just do that. So this is the shadow. So remember, I had it set to the alpha, so it didn't actually put a black box there, which is not needed. I'm going to come up here and go to Edit, and then I'm going to do Define Brush Preset, and it's going to make a brush out of the shadow. So I'm going to create a new layer. Let's make it pink for the sake of seeing it when I stamp it on there. So basically all I do is come in here and just align it. But like I said, I like to have control. I like to come in here and like mask it to kind of pull back on the blowout for the shadow. But then I like to come in here, go to blur, Gaussian blur, and I hit it with a 5. So as you can see, it's kind of not as drastic as the original one, but it is still nice. And so I can hide that bottom one and make this black and then just save it as a ping file and we're done. It's pretty to me. I think I'm gonna duplicate it just to make it a little bit more harsh, but that's basically all I do for the shadow. I do understand that you can bake shadow in the programs. I'm fully aware, but like I said, I'm kind of a creature of habit. So I just keep it this way. For the text layer, I'm actually going to drag the ambient occlusion up top and then I'm going to set it to multiply. Like I said before, this is pretty much how I do this every single time. We're going to kind of like, I don't know, does it need to be multiplied? Sometimes I set it to overlay. Like this is pretty as well, but it's pretty for me on the sides, but it's like not dark enough for me down here. Like I'm going to want that to be like black. So I'm going to duplicate that bottom layer and then just bring it above and click multiply and then I'm going to bring that down just a little bit. I still want to be able to see it, but I want it to be like black, you know? Also too, for like, I guess the sake of the video, let's see if I can do this real quick. Yeah, this is nice. Also, the reason why I make stuff big is just because of this reason right here. Like before, I told you, sometimes I like to put like a gloss or something going on my signs. This makes it to where I can do that right there. And it looks really, really nice on the sign. Just have a little bit of something on there to where it's not just totally bland. We're going to just save this as a JPEG and just like that. Okay. Excuse me. So we can go back in Second Life. Redelivery. And we can come in here and we can load these textures. We're going to take the shadow and we're going to take the text. We're going to say yes. And then we can come in here and apply this. So I'm just going to drag and drop. There's a shadow. We're going to drag and drop. And remember how I said like you're going to want to be able to texture that little front part just like so. And then we're going to drop this here. So you see how like it has that little like inner whatever. It has that like that little like shine in the inside. Let's take it off something so we can actually like see this, right? Hey, that looks fancy. So when it comes to the light, before I let you go, let's play with this real quick. I'm going to open the folder and we're going to click on the side to side. So when you open your light layer inside of Photoshop, you're going to be like, hell, where is it? It is right here on the right hand side. You just can't really see it. So from here, we're just going to press Control T. And then I'm going to drag the side of it. Hello? We're going to, hello? Okay, maybe we're not. Maybe we're just going to make me look stupid. All right, let's do this. I'm going to make it, duplicate it a few times and try it again. Control T, Shift. Okay, hold Shift and drag it out. Okay, so this is essentially your light layer. You can leave it black and come in here and do like your cuts and all that kind of stuff to make it blink if you want to. Or you can actually just do boxes and do over it, and then you can kind of edit it from here. Okay, so like I mentioned before, I have a lot of pre-made lights that I've made over the years, and I just kind of keep them. Sometimes I don't need to create a brand new light because I have hundreds of light files that will work on every single neon sign that I make. But sometimes the neons will call for you to do something custom, something like making each letter blink randomly. That's going to be a custom light. So you would need to know how to do that. So for the sake of the ending the video, I'm just going to show you how you would make a custom light. So for this one, I really like this like salmony color pink right here. This is kind of the Glow Baby pink, is like that kind of color. So I can show you, let's see, let's go ahead and just do a box all the way down. And then I'm going to rotate it because I want that light to go from left to right instead of it being up and down, up and down. So something that I do that I notice a lot of other neon sign people don't do is I actually like my lights to be feathered. Like I like them to have a Gaussian blur on it because I think it looks more whimsical. It looks like a little bit lighter on the eyes. If you kept it like this, it's going to be a very harsh color coming in. It's not going to be faded at all, and I really enjoy having the fades. So I usually rasterize my stuff, and then I come in here to blur, Gaussian blur. A 5 is kind of a lot, so I'm going to say to kind of take that down to a 3 and press OK. So even just with this, right, just to have that, I can just show you. We can kind of go back and forth on this, okay? So we're just going to call this 1. Let's load a temp texture in real quick. All right, so you'll see how this comes in. There we go. So that's that line going all the way through. All right, so you can make it longer or shorter, or we can go in and add a couple blinks to it. So say for instance we wanted it to blink a couple times. Let's duplicate it, rotate it straight up and down, like just straight up and down. You also don't want them to overlap, so you just kind of have to make sure like it's not overlapping. And to make the really, really fast blinks, it needs to be tiny. It needs to be like really tiny. So we can move that close and just, I'm going to duplicate it like 2 times. Make it a little bitty sliver in between. Whoops. Little bitty sliver. So whenever we do this one, we can save, then just overwrite the one that you made, and it will edit, it will like overwrite it in Second Life because it's a temp texture. So there you go. It just blinked. Let me turn it off. This script allows me to turn it off and on just by clicking the sign, I think. Don't make me lie, sign. All right, we'll just wait here for a second. Come on, sign. Come on, sign, don't make me a liar. Did I turn it off? Oh no, there it goes. All right, so that's the first line that we made. Now it's going to blink. Okay, so you can kind of see where you go in and you're just customizing it over and over. Let's go ahead and just copy this and then bring it over here. And say you want to just put it in a group, right? And just make all of it, I don't know, make all of it like green or something. So the next pass is going to look more like this. And so this pass can be like pink. You could even organize your shit. Be like better than me, right? Green. And then we're going to make another one and just kind of scoot that over. We'll make this one like purple or something. Come in here, just like that. Customize it however it is that you want. So we'll come in here and we'll just override it. And then go back to Second Life. So there it goes, pink first. Blink, blink. Next one's going to be green. Blink, blink. Last one's going to be purple. Blink, blink. All right. So that is one example to how you can make it more of a custom. And like I said, like, let me go down here and let me look at some of the pre-made lights that I have. This one might be interesting. You can make them like literally however you want. I encourage you to sit around and like play with this to figure out like what style is going to look best for you. And so you can kind of understand how to do them custom for people as well. Because people really love to have these signs done. This one, I do not believe blinks at all. It just kind of runs through. Oh, it did a little bit of blinky motion. Oh, let me show you this real quick, okay? Let me show you this real quick. Let's take this one off and let's put these back up. All right. So say you wanted these to blink randomly. A lot of people want to know, like, how do you make it all blink randomly? So if you remember on the UV, this is the G, this is the L, O, W, B, A, B, Y. So say that we wanted this to blink random. You're gonna just come in here and like delete some of these pieces, okay? So like, we're gonna be real crazy with it. Let's see. Hello? Alright, so just kind of come in here and delete the pieces that you don't want anymore. So let's go here and let's like take this out. Let's take this one out. We can hide this real quick. Alright, so this is like the middle. Ooh, that's like, you need to really get really close, right? Because I have terrible eyes. I have to always zoom all the way into this. I can't really like look at it the way, you know, being totally front with it, but all right, so let's like click this one. Sorry it's taking so long, but again, I think this is the stuff that I really missed out on like showing you guys on the first one, and people had a lot of questions, so I was just like, for the sake of me not having to come back in here and like saying all of this stuff again in a couple of weeks, I think it's better to maybe just have the longer video and just get over it. Like, just get over the fact that I talked a lot. Okay, I'm just trying to like give you examples, so this time when we do this tutorial we're actually better off and it can stay up there for some years and we don't have to like worry about anything, you know. All right, so let me just come in here and edit this part. Oops, edit. All right. All right, we're just going to leave it at that. We did some little custom cuts so you can see there's some blank spaces. So let's come in now and see what this looks like. All right, but you see how like it's kind of like some of them are going off. I would have to sit here and honestly take a lot more time on this in order to make it perfect, absolutely perfect. But if you take out any of that space, you see that just happened right there. There was like a little blip or something. If you take out the space, that's going to make it blink. So you really have to pay attention to like the flow of everything to make sure that you're doing it like in the right order, or you can do it completely randomly as well. Like for instance, let's just make it pink. Or let's do this. Let's just this is the last thing I'm going to show you, and then I'm just going to end it, and I'll be like, good luck with your life. Good luck with your life. All right, so this is all going to run continuously, right? But say you want it to blink at like different times. You would just come in here and like, say you wanted it to be like gradually come in all the way down the block. That's going to be like this here, and we're just like doing like really random shit. I'm not going to go all the way through because it does take time. It does take time. I'm not going to lie. How many times have I sat here and just cut boxes on shit? Pretty sure the other mesh neon people are like, yes, I fucking hate this shit. Like, when will ChatGPT make us our own neon light? Like, oh my god, that would be crazy. That would be so crazy. It would literally save our life to where we don't have to do this anymore. Because this really does suck. Not gonna lie. Once you get really creative with it, you're gonna be like, somebody freaking pop me in the face. All right, let's just use this for the example. You can go all the way through the sequence if you want to, but yeah, again, sake of the video. Okay, so you see how they're just kind of blinking randomly. If you want it to blink like really fast randomly in some places, then you're going to need to make those cuts closer together. And that's the part that's going to actually take like a lot of time. So right now it's running. So this is kind of like derpy glitchy, but you get the idea, right? You're just kind of going to have to come in and take a little bit more time with it. Like if you're wanting them to be like really fast, make them small and then just bring it in like this. Like that's going to be a really, really fast blink. Same thing with this. Let's just make it really small. That's going to be very spastic. So let's just like overwrite this one. All right. I guess this one is not set to touch to turn off, so let's just let it do its thing real quick. And then I think I'm done. Let me think about things real quick. Yeah, you see how that's a little bit more spasticky? So if you're wanting it to blink really fast, make sure you have those cuts really close together, like they're really small. If you want them to be more spaced out, then it needs to be more spaced out on the UV. What else can I tell you before I let you go? Obviously, you can take all of this a step further. You can put texture HUDs with it. That's what I have done. I've actually made texture HUDs so that control the text part, that control the animations. I've even hooked up a color picker on some situations, like the alphabets that I've been releasing. Let's see, what else can you do with it? Like I said before, if you really wanted to take the painstakingly task of um, cutting up the sides of the text, you could make that also animate as well. I've seen some really cool ones. I'm just not going to do that. That's crazy to me. That's like a lot of work. That person should be getting a freaking award for doing that. Yeah, so I think ideally you really want your signs to be like 1 to 2 land impact. For me, I really don't give a shit because I own 2 regions and I have all of the prims in the world. But really, ideally, you're gonna want them to be pretty small because when designers go to put them on their booth, they're already limited on the amount of prims that they can use for the booth. So you're really wanting it not to be astronomical or crazy. Yeah. So I think I'm done talking your ear off. I think I've shown you everything that I know, everything that I'm doing different this year, or in the past couple of years, because some of those tutorials I was doing before, I was working so much harder. I was a complete idiot. So I really appreciate anybody that watched those and didn't write me and say, "You're stupid. You're actually doing this the harder way." There were some instances where I was not thinking clearly. I was thinking more graphic designer. I was not thinking 3D modeler. So, but at the same time, I get so many IMs from people, and I just want to say thank you so much for sticking with me this long. If you've made it to this end of the video, I wish you the best luck in making the signs. They can be really fun. I can tell you I've made thousands of them, so at this point I can't really say they're super fun, but like you will get better as time goes and all of this stuff will be second nature, and maybe you'll be out here on YouTube one day making a neon sign tutorial for everybody to follow and show them how you do it. I would love to see that actually, especially someone who does know how to do PBR. I would love to see a tutorial on how to do that. So maybe I could take a page from your book and be able to apply those kind of materials to my sign just to make it even better. So thank you so much for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to my channel. I will do my best to put more tutorials up in the next year. I'm also going to be building Spookzilla very soon, so there will be live streams to building happening on this channel, and I hope that you will be here to hang out with me and watch and chat and share like your Second Life experiences with me as well. Have a great rest of your week. Leave a comment in the section below if you have any questions. I am happy to answer. And yeah, thank you as always for your support. I am logging off of here. Please tell me that it's recording. Please. Hopefully. I'm going to go save Grace. See you guys later. Bye.